At the end of 2024, beginning of 2025, I decided to hold a series of interviews in New Delhi. With my friend Aditya, I went to sit with my guests in their homes and talk while he filmed. Separate conversations with 7 inspiring women: Deepa Mehta, Supriya Dravid, Ambika Seth, Jyotika Jalani, Sonia Jahan, Vidushi Mehra, Karishma Jalani. The culmination of which I want to share with you. Each had a fierce understanding of context, fearless and led by their heart, but always mindful of their abundant intelligence. These are their fascinating journeys. Listen up. Welcome to the warmth and safety of the Lighthouse.
Hi everyone. Today I'm with a person who I hold very dear to my heart and who's very graciously invited us to her home in New Friends Colony. My producing partner, my co-actor, Vidushi Mehra. Oh yes, sorry, I forgot friend, of course. Friend, Vidushi Mehra.
Thank you. You hold a very special place in my heart too, Samay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for being
And
here.
I'm very glad that we are able to do this. And,
Likewise.
Start at the beginning. Your parents were from, and they met where?
Well, rather interesting story. My parents were very young when they met. My father was in the Merchant Navy. He was from the north, a Brahmin, and my mother was from the south, a Roman Catholic. Back in the 70s when they met, it was rather unusual for two people to belong to two different systems of religion and caste, and therefore they eloped because they didn't have the support of either family, and they eloped and got married.
Now I quote Lilian Katz. Nurture, again, is to provide lots of opportunities for a child's natural curiosity to manifest itself. You see, the role of a parent is one of support and guide. Now, did your parents provide you with lots of opportunities for you to engage your natural curiosity? I mean, you're an only child. I know I'm an only child, as far as I know. I mean, you grew up on a ship.
Right.
Talk me through it.
Well, I was conceived on a ship in 1978. And I was on the ship till I was about 4.5 years of age. I traveled extensively with both my parents. I was largely at sea.
Where?
In India, outside of India.
Right.
We traveled quite a fair bit, and I was taught about the adventures of sea, the horrors of sea. We went through massive turbulence. Sometimes the ship would be rocking, and I would feel all of that. I would question my parents about whether this is it, are we all going to die?
Really? You engaged with a certain sort of, you quenched your curiosity at ports.
There was a lot to quench. There were a lot of people to see, different cultures, lots of different types of food.
Amazing.
Being exposed to different people all the time. The ship in itself was a legacy, right? To be around 200 people,
Yes.
from cadets to officers to senior officers.
They all must have taught you something. But
Always. I always had adults for company.
yeah.
Didn't have too many children growing up. And everyone regaled me with their stories. I was constantly entertained, being the daughter of the captain. And it was quite a privileged life the first few years being at sea. I was always the center of attention, being the only child.
Shy, timid?
Not really. I think I was always encouraged to do things as a performer. I found performance at a very young age, and I still till date at 46 hold performance as the key to many things
So this was one
in
of
my
the
life.
strengths you discovered you had, huh? And do you remember thinking, oh shit, I'm good at this?
I remember at the age of 4 being propped up to sing and dance at the age of 4, and remembering the applause being something very reassuring and comforting. Infectious. And also my confidence. A great amount of my confidence came from hearing an applause.
Such an age, huh?
Yeah.
Wow. and when you finally left ship, how old were you? And where did you settle?
In Delhi, I had to start schooling. So
Which school? Sorry.
Modern school.
Modern school.
In New Delhi.
Now, being on the ship, school, you must have started later than everyone else. I mean, was it difficult to adapt?
It was, because every time I came back from an extended summer vacation, which was always like 40 days more than the others had.
40? Wow.
I was granted that on special permission. As long as I did well in school, I could cope
Right.
with the pressures of exams and all of that. But what was particularly hard from memory was integrating back in a friend circle which had progressively connected and grown,
Kept changing then.
kept changing.
Now, in school,
Right.
you, after your singing days on the ship, you in school were cast as a woman venerated by the Roman Catholic Church. I mean, this
a bit
woman,
much.
this woman witnessed the crucifixion of Jesus
Yes.
and his eventual resurrection. And you were cast as
Mary Magdalene in a magnum opus created for school for our 75th year.
Wow.
Called Jesus Christ Superstar,
How
a
old were
very
you?
big rock musical at the time and even before,
Yeah.
from the 70s.
And you were how old?
I was 15 when I got cast.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Wow. That must have been quite a process. Did you ever expect to be cast as that?
Never,
And-
because up until then I had done a few things
Yeah.
on stage. It always reminded me of my confidence being on stage. So I always found opportunities to go back, but not in this way. Because you know, Mary Magdalene was considered to be impure
Yes.
by a society then. But she was also Jesus' favorite disciple. So there have been lots of conspiracy theories around her involvement with Jesus over that time, and it continues to be a place of criticism in church.
Yeah.
You know, so one had to be careful about how she was portrayed. But luckily for me, it was a singing role. So we had a lot of songs to sing, and I had to emote the songs.
And it's something you thought you should nurture?
It is when I felt that yes, this is something that I could explore
Yeah,
as
you
a
want to
career.
navigate it. You wanted to navigate it further, right?
Yeah,
Did
yeah.
your parents?
My parents were not so supportive at the time. I think my parents were supportive enough to say that continue this on the side and see where it lands and how you feel
Yeah.
about it, but you must also be able to finish your education,
course.
find a job, find financial stability.
You married at 22.
Yeah.
You started working. Now your artistic ambitions took a back seat. You joined the corporate world, GE Capital, ABN AMRO, Amex.
Mm-hmm.
Walk us through a typical day, being married, working.
Well, I was married very young, and at the time, my ex-husband, he was fueled with ambition to be a household name in his career. I supported that as
Nikhil
much as
Mehra
I
of
could.
Shantanu.
Yes. It was a common endeavor to see his brand grow. So I felt I was instrumental to a certain degree. But that also meant having to kind of see where my ambitions lied at the time.
course.
It was okay to be in a safe job and not to chase a Bollywood dream or to chase something that required me to be out there so much. The corporate career taught me balance, taught me discipline, taught me waking up on time, going. But did it have passion? Did it make me feel good and alive? No. Which is why it was cut short. And I had to find my feet back into the arts,
Right.
which is where I've always been the happiest, right? And it was after my twins were born in 2007, I gave up this corporate dream. So I wanted to go back on stage and feel that warmth and that connection with myself. And as luck would have it, the universe granted
Of course,
those
we'll
wishes.
come to that, your body
Yeah.
of work, amazing body of work.
Yeah,
Now, I hope you don't mind me asking, but
right.
separation is a growing reality today. How was it perceived at the time your parents separated? And how old were you? And who did you live with?
I was 7.5 when my parents
Young.
decided to part ways. It was a very painful divorce. I remember my parents not being at their best with each other or with me. It was a very difficult first 5 years of adjusting to that idea that my parents would not be together. But there are silver linings. I didn't have my father for most part of growing up because he was always at sea. So I didn't really miss my parents being together, but the aftermath of the separation and having to deal with the divorce in the early 90s was particularly hard on my mom. they didn't understand divorce. They didn't understand women's emancipation, what it could possibly feel like to be liberated after marriage ending. But
Right.
my mother was never made to feel like that. She didn't feel it herself, and she wasn't made to feel like that by anyone. Ending a marriage can also mean good things. It can also mean growth for a woman. It can also mean finding her 2 feet again. It can also mean placing a new set of ideals all at once, all together from ground zero, which was not respected 2 decades ago, 3 decades ago.
Of course. But I read somewhere that mothers never go away. They walk beside us every day.
Yeah, I
you know?
lost.
They're unseen, they're unheard,
Right.
but always near and still loved. You agree?
I agree. My mom has been really the parent that I've idolized, I've looked up to. She was the one who took care of me. I wished I had more of my father in my life, but circumstances were different, and my allegiance was with my mother. But I lost her very suddenly when I was only 32, when I needed her the most. She was taken away quite suddenly from me. But I do hold her memory as my guiding light.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
I mean, I haven't actually properly, to be honest, I haven't properly grieved for my father. I lost him at 2011. So
Yeah,
I
I
still
think
hold that within me.
You were as young as me when
yeah.
you lost your dad.
Yeah, exactly. He didn't have much time to, to maybe able to grieve properly, because at 32, Aisha happened.
Yeah.
Your children are what, 1.5?
Yeah.
And you're working, you have children, you have Aisha.
Yeah.
Talk to me, how suddenly you're thrown into this media circus, Bollywood, Aisha with Sonam Kapoor.
Yeah, that was very strange how that happened in my life.
Yeah.
In 2009, when my mother was still very much around, my kids were only a year and a half, I met this wonderful lady called Chitrangada Das Singh, who's a very,
Hazaron question.
yes,
Sudhir.
a very beautiful actor. And I was just talking to her at a party, and she didn't know what it was like to be on stage, and I had never been in front of a camera for a film. So we had that in common. But at the time, I was reading this wonderful book, which you would know of. It's David Mamet's
Called?
Truth and False.
Truth and False.
And I remember reading it and really understanding it so holistically as a life skill, acting as a life tool. And everything that David Mamet had written about resonated with me in my own life. And we were talking about this at the party. And she got quite fascinated by this book and wanted a copy. I said, no, I'm sending you my own copy. I couriered it to her, and I remember exchanging numbers at the end of the conversation, and she calls me and says, I have the book. And this was really wonderful because, in Delhi you generally meet people and then, the conversation is forgotten, people are forgotten, but you actually sent me the book.
You followed through.
Yeah, and she was very touched by that gesture, and she then said that I've taken the liberty of giving your number to a very dear friend who's a big casting director at the time, Amita Sehgal, who had
Of course.
cast for
Sanjay Leela
Sanjay
Bhansali's films.
Leela Bhansali's
Yeah.
films, who happened to be casting Anil Kapoor's maiden venture with his daughter Sonam Kapoor,
Yeah.
their maiden production. Chitrangada said, just go, meet this lady, and I have a feeling it may work out for you, your entry into films.
And it did.
And it kind of did, because I
First
met
audition?
Amita.
No.
First audition.
First audition, you
First
nailed it.
audition ever.
Wow.
Not that I'm bragging about it, but I think I was well suited for the role. They were looking at somebody who was either pregnant or just had babies.
Yeah? Okay.
And I was playing her older pregnant sister.
And did people in Bombay insist on you conforming to an accepted standard of beauty? I mean, an aesthetic? Do you have
Yeah.
any anecdotes?
Well, yeah. I mean, I remember meeting a very eminent casting director.
Oh yeah?
Right after Aisha was released. There was a lot of interest. There were lots of phone calls. Lots of people wanting to know who I was, whether I'd be interested in this ad or that. There was a lot of stuff, and I felt very good.
Yes.
To be honest, it really helped my ego to a large extent. But I also knew the reality, And the reality was that I'm old enough now to play someone's. 32 is not conventionally typically the age you start
Oh, yeah?
a career in Bollywood, especially if you're already a mother and you're married and you have no
Typecast in something.
typecast. Was what I was being for a while.
So what did they say you should
But
alter by your...
one of these people did say that if you wanted to be somebody of value in the industry, you might have to change your nose.
Nose,
You
yeah?
might have to get a boob job. You might have to like
Wow.
do certain things physically to yourself, and I found that quite bizarre. I mean, I'm not going to
So
go
it
under the
is
knife.
rampant.
Yeah, I'm not going to go under the knife for something that I wasn't certain
No.
of.
Fugly, Rice, No One Killed Jessica, right?
Yeah.
Bara followed with
Yeah.
Anurag Kashyap.
Right.
Was it a happy period?
No, the
Fond
films.
memories?
The films were intermittent. They weren't as frequent. Most of these films were shot in Delhi, which is why I think I got cast. The venture to Bombay didn't happen ever. Even when I did shoot, the rare times I did, it was in and out. Like I would go shoot, come back to Delhi. My kids were growing up. I had a lot of responsibility, and acting still continued to be on the side.
Yeah.
Whenever I had a window too, I did it.
Now, having twins propel you back to a certain measure of caution, work-wise, but you know you had to nurture them now,
Yeah.
your children,
Right.
you know? So, names of your children, please, and their age today.
Well, they're 18, and they are the loves of my life,
course.
Ninya and Vivhan. I have a son and a daughter.
Now, today, your son, Boston, Emerson, to study what?
Yeah, I mean, I've contributed to the lives of many children going abroad and
Of course.
being coached
We'll come to that.
in
We'll
a
come to that.
in a certain sense with me. So there was a lot of pressure on me
I know. The
to
application.
get my son.
And what's he studying?
Not only the application, choosing the pieces where
For
he
his
would be
monologues,
audition.
his auditions.
Yes.
Online, Michael.
Right.
Tough.
But I'm very happy that he made it,
Yeah.
and he's going to be leaving later this year. And we were over the moon when
Good college,
he
Emerson.
got accepted at Emerson.
For acting.
It is considered to be.
And
We'll
how-
know in time.
Yeah, okay, we'll know in time. Okay.
Right.
And how will you cope when he finally leaves the nest?
Hard one. Haven't thought about it.
But you know, this prospect scares many mothers.
It does.
course. Any
It
advice?
does. But I think I've learned to live quite in my own bubble, in my own world, and I just need to be more involved with the things I do.
Now, I read somewhere the way we talk to our children becomes their inner voice, right? Now, Ninya has a very strong inner voice. Like I said, I've known them for 10 years. Now, Nikhil and yourself really nurtured her well. Her confidence, her curiosity, her observations astound me.
Yeah.
Today, I think she can cope better than most with stress.
She does.
Constantly thinking, processing information, navigating challenging situations, even more than people I know.
Yeah.
Astounding because she grew up with a disability.
Yes.
And what was it? And how did Nikhil and you manage and keep managing it today for our listeners to follow in your
Well,
footsteps?
Ninya does most of the job. She manages herself so well and is constantly surprising us that, not to mention that it was a very difficult journey to begin with. Finding the right social environment, structures, the kind of learning.
Because she has a...
Well, she does have a learning need, but she's also so exceptional in so many different areas
Absolutely.
of perception, intuition, the way she understands emotion, her EQ. She understands things very deeply. But it has been a challenge to fit her. You know, the society demands we fit children into molds. And that came at a very high price for us when she was young, because no school understood her. And the schools that talk about inclusion are these very big public schools that actually know nothing about how to set children into a place of safety. So we struggled with that. We struggled with schools, we struggled with adapting her to her learning needs. It was a struggle to find teachers who could teach her the way she learned as opposed to teaching her the way they wanted to. and finding friends, children can be very cruel. So Ninya has been a victim of intense bullying, intense isolation, separation. It was very difficult for her to see us separate when she hit puberty. So Ninya has actually been through a lot of challenging
Quite a
times,
bit,
but has really held her own and continues to be somebody I'm so inspired by, and I learn so much from that little girl.
Now, in 2016, we met.
Yes.
Wow, 2016.
Yeah.
Co-produced and acted in 7 productions.
An open and shut case, Your Lordship, and given the age of the accused, the prosecution pushes for death penalty.
We will present a strong defense. Reasonable doubt.
Yes.
The first one being Skylight at the Odd Bird, remember? And most recently, Shadow at the Alliance Française.
Yes.
How has the journey been back to the stage? And was it empowering? As a
You
producer?
tell me, Summer, how was it working with me?
Oh God, where do I start? Seriously, where do I start?
Incredibly difficult, I'm
No,
sure.
but I felt empowered because I was the master of my own artistic choices with
Right.
you, and I think we were on the same page. And we took quite a challenging, ambitious project first initially, and it worked out well. We
Yeah.
created a certain sort of following.
Yes,
I
I think when we started out, we wanted to switch up the theatre
yeah.
and give it an experience that people hadn't visualized or seen or felt. We were successful
I
to a
think we
certain
were.
degree, and I think we've also belonged to a certain common sensibility of keeping the sets light, keeping the lighting bare,
Yeah.
but really like
But
bringing
efficient.
out a performance
Efficient.
through the acting.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
but-
which is what Shadowed was.
yeah. Yeah.
also.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Before I forget, it tackles quite a few serious subject matters like mental health. Were you apprehensive a bit, or you think people would? We have to
No, I
approach it
think
in a very.
If there was a time to delve into a subject of mental health, it would be now, as a way forward from COVID, where the world is in turmoil. It continues to be. Everyone is to some level in turmoil, professionally, personally, which is why I feel theatre is more relevant than it ever was. We have to keep working at creating scripts of purpose, but at the same time not sound like we know the subject, but we can affect the subject and create a balance between entertainment and the subject. Ready? Ready. Hi, my name is Vidushi. I'm your acting and life coach. Acting for me means discipline, being able to learn your lines, being able to arrive with a certain punctuality to set. Now let me make some sort of a connection between these two words, acting and life.
After nurturing your children, which will be a lifelong thing, you are today nurturing others through your coaching.
Yes.
Where did you get the seed of the idea of coaching?
Going back to COVID and finding a relevance again was my primary focus. I was also just separated, so there was a lot going on, within me. I was writing, and I was looking back at the writing, and I said, "Oh, this can help people venturing into Bollywood, venturing into new careers."
But you teach life skills as well.
Yes, so acting became the medium by which I would, and I was coaching people in different skills. So expression, voice and body language became the fulcrum of my course,
Yes.
which is what actors use.
Online.
And it kind of like happened so quickly. I changed 3 agencies and they all
Right.
saw the future in what I was
You
doing.
mean the tremendous potential.
The potential in the future, and we created what is called the Actors Toolbox.
Actors Toolbox.
Yes.
How do they find you if they're searching for?
So I created a profile.
Yes.
I was doing a lot of seminars through webinars.
Yeah.
I was inviting people to come and understand how acting could be a life skill,
Right.
a learning tool. And over 3.5 years, from 2020 till mid 23, it was quite successful. I was able to touch 10,000 people.
Whoa.
And also have a lot of interest in the course, come from different people, from different walks of life, not just actors.
And so I like to end with the quick fire.
rapid fire. Don't burn my house down.
What? No, no, it's an expression, I think.
Rapid fire, you mean?
Oh, rapid fire!
Without a hamper.
Rapid, what? I'm not Karan Johar. Anyway, quick
Clearly
fire.
not.
No, quick, rapid fire. Favorite meal?
Go for it. Dal chawal.
Okay. Me too. Raita?
Yes.
Yes.
Dal chawal.
Travel destination, favorite?
I could go to Italy at any point in time.
Yeah, but be specific.
I don't know. Italy is so vast and beautiful.
Yeah,
like
that's why
any
be
like
specific,
where?
no?
At Rome?
Right back in the middle.
Rome.
Yeah. Friends are what to you?
Fun, entertaining, an escape from routine, quelling boredom. I don't know.
Okay, and a quality you admire most in a person?
Loyalty.
Loyalty. Okay. A negative trait you'd magically love to get rid of?
Oh, there are many.
Many, no?
Many. But impatience, anger, you'd know how impatient and angry I was through the process of making Shadow.
Yeah, I think everyone. No, I'm joking.
Yeah. Well, yeah, anger.
Anger.
You know, there
And
are
one of your
points
anger,
where-
where points?
Well, there are places of discomfort that one feels anger,
Right.
you know, that are unresolved in life. And that's where I think the perpetuity of self-discipline
Yeah.
and wanting to change and be better
Yeah.
comes in. No?
Of course.
For you
of course.
too?
I'm seeing a therapist.
The 15th therapist.
The 15th therapist. That's a line from our play, by the
Exactly.
way. It's not true.
Yeah, it's not true.
Okay. A hobby? I mean, poker is one of your hobbies, a strong one actually, and you've won major tournaments, right?
No.
You won
I
one.
mean, I won a few.
A few.
I would like to believe I'm like this poker champion, but no, I don't have enough
Which
practice.
poker champ? Oh, you.
Yeah.
Okay.
But no, I don't play at all anymore. And I'd love to get back to it in
We
a
can
way
play.
where... No, there has to be a club where we play constantly and we can keep learning skills. Again, poker's a life skill. It can teach you
How?
so much about people,
Yeah.
the resilience, the care with which you play, the discipline with which you play, the cavalier approach with which you play. There are so many things that you can learn.
Yes.
People
Of course.
skills.
People skills.
Noticing, observing people, how brash they can be, how quickly they can think, how... I mean, there's just... it's a sea out there.
Yes.
Poker's great. It's great
It's
for
great.
young adults.
I'm learning. It's great.
Yeah?
And there's one question. This painting behind you, it's beautiful,
Thank you.
right? Who is it? The artist?
Kumar Abhishek. Yeah.
Right.
I picked this
Beautiful,
up a few
beautiful
years
painting.
ago. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
That's
you,
it.
Samar.
That's it for now. Thank you so much.
Thank you for this wonderful interview and all your very, very highly, what is the word that I'm looking for? Very carefully pointed questions.
Thank you so much. Thank you very much.
Thank you.